Good afternoon, First Lutheran and Philippus UCC community. Pastoral intern Tyler here with you today for our midweek prayer. It is the first week of Advent. We began Advent on Sunday, and Advent is a season where we are waiting patiently for Christmas. And so it's a 4 week period, and we've got 4 different Sundays, each with a different theme. We've got hope, we've got peace, we've got joy, and we've got love. And those are the different themed Sundays of Advent. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about hope. So a few months ago, I bought a lemon tree at Home Depot, and I left it out all summer, all through the early fall before it got too cold. I watered it once every week or two or so, as it was sort of told to do. Kept it in the sunlight, but I didn't really see a whole lot of growth. I didn't really see a whole lot of change, which was really kind of disappointing to me. I eventually brought it back inside the house when it started to get a little bit colder, and left it near a bright window. And just thinking, okay, we're going to keep it in here for a few months until it starts to get warm again, and hopefully it will survive inside over the winter. Well, lo and behold, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I started to get little buds on my lemon tree inside, which was really strange to me. And then they just exploded. There were probably about 20 or 30 different buds on this teeny tiny lemon tree, just coming out of nowhere. And I thought to myself, this is really strange. I was not expecting this tree to last inside, much less start to bloom and blossom. And so I waited and I waited, and nothing. It just, I just had my little buds and they didn't do anything. And eventually Matt and I needed to leave for Thanksgiving break. We flew out to Tulsa to visit my parents, and then came back home. And when we arrived back home, there were about 5 or 6 open lemon blossoms on this tree in late November inside of my house. And it was just amazing to see. My hope is that in a few weeks, months, I might have a few lemons that I could use in my cooking. And I'll go ahead and show you my tree right now, which I've got right here. And so you can see it. I've got little buds right here, right in the middle of the late fall, almost early winter. And so I've been taking a little paintbrush and sort of trying to pollinate the flowers so that something happens, hopefully. I'm not guaranteed to get any fruit. I'm not guaranteed to have any production this year, but I'm hopeful for it. I'm hopeful that my care of this tree and the right conditions, I'm hopeful that I'll have something that I can look back and say, okay, I was able to take care of this tree well enough to have something good, to use something out of it. And I think it's a really inspiring way to sort of look at the season of hope. It's not always easy to be hopeful, especially I think if the pandemic has taught us anything, it's that it's really hard to do. It seems like one thing after the other, and to keep faith and to keep hope is not something that is really easy to do. When we think about hope in the biblical sense, hope is sort of talked about by a number of prophets, a number of different biblical writers, and that's kind of the point of prophecy in the Bible, is to bring hope and comfort to a hurting people. Sometimes words from prophets are not great. Sometimes they tell us, God's not happy with how you're living your life, or God's not happy with how you're treating other people, and the consequences of your actions are going to sort of dictate hard times. But God remembers us, and we have hope, and we trust in God that eventually things are going to be made right. And that's this whole season of Advent. That's what it's about. It's hope and waiting for the culmination, the fulfillment of God's promises for the world. It's a hope that Jesus is going to come back one day and make things the way that they should be. But it's also hope that even now, in the middle of struggle, in the middle of suffering, that God is doing something in the world. And God is inviting us to be co-creators with God in the world to make a better world for everybody else, to make a better world for the people who are on the margins, the poor people, the migrants, the refugees, the people who are shut out. That's part of what hope we have as Christians. And when the Bible tells us this is how we should be living our life, it's not demanding that we do it in order to be saved, but it's to say that we have been changed by God. And because we have been changed by God, and because we hope that we're going to be transformed into something new, that we can also participate in that creative experience and transform the world too. We are a changing people, changing the world. And I think that's an important thing to remember during the season of hope and the season of waiting. As we close midweek prayer today, I definitely want to give a couple of announcements as well as a few different prayer requests for this week. I know there are a number of people in our community that have been ill or have contracted COVID. So just please be praying for everybody who's sick right now, being inside, and with the arrival of a new COVID variant, we want to make sure that we're taking care of all of the members of our community, both the ones that we worship with and the ones outside of our doors. We want to make sure that we're keeping people safe. Wear your mask, socially distance. That's really important to do. Get vaccinated or boosted if you haven't already. I got my booster on Sunday, so I'm really happy about that. But just remember to take care of one another during this season. That way we can hope to come back together at the end of the pandemic in a way that is, in a way that's better, in a way that's more cognizant of people, more cognizant of the way in which we interact with one another, more cognizant of the way that we can take care of one another during this season. So please be keeping people in your prayers and in your minds and your thoughts, and doing the things as well to protect others and to protect yourself. That's also an important piece to it too. A few announcements. As you may have noticed on our Facebook page, we are doing an Advent Word of the Day post. So during the season of Advent, we have a word every single day, and we're going to have a small devotion or a small little reflection on those words and a picture to accompany it. So I invite you to just take a look at our page every day. See something, see a word or a reflection, and use that as your time, your quiet time with God to reflect on how you might participate in the world or how you might observe Advent this year. I know I've been working on mine. Mine is tomorrow, and I'm doing a reflection on preparation, which I think is kind of funny considering how the whole pandemic started. We were not prepared for it at all, but people did different things like went to the grocery store and bought up as much toilet paper as they wanted, or they might have made their own masks or whatever. Those are sort of some examples I might be talking about. But be sure to check back there. In addition to our Advent Word of the Day, in theme with our Advent theme is the end this year. And so we're doing a couple different things with that. One in particular are donations for La Soup. La Soup is doing a culinary education program, and so we are asking for donations of new kitchen utensils that we can donate to that organization in order to be able to educate people on cooking and culinary nutrition. That's what we're directing our giving this season towards. And then last night we had our first Holden evening prayer at Hyde Park Community United Methodist Church at their chapel. They have been so gracious to give us that space every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. If you are in the area and would love to worship with us, it's a really short service, about 30 to 45 minutes. Come on out. If you've never done Holden evening prayer before, it's a beautiful service. It's a beautiful evening prayer liturgy. There's a lot of singing. There's a short time for some quiet meditation and reflection. It's a beautiful, beautiful experience. So come and join us at 7 p.m. on Tuesdays at Hyde Park Community United Methodist Church during the season of Advent. We have 3 more during the season, so hope to see you there as well. With that, let's go ahead and go to God in prayer. Good and gracious God, we thank you for hope. We thank you for the ways in which you remind us that you are with us and that you are transforming the world each and every day. Sometimes we don't see it, sometimes we don't perceive it, but you are active in us and with us and around us. We ask that you empower us to participate with you in transforming the world, just as you have transformed us. We ask that you give us eyes to see those who are suffering, ears to hear those who are crying for help, hands that are empowered to serve, and feet that go where you need them to go, words that comfort, and arms to receive those who are suffering or lonely. We ask that you be with those who are sick today, those who are lonely, those that are suffering or having a hard time right now in this season. We understand Christmas is not always an easy time of year for everybody, and we ask that you give comfort to those who need it right now. All this we ask in your holy and precious name. Amen. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you on Sunday at Philippus United Church of Christ for our Sunday worship. It begins at 10:15 or on Zoom at 9:15. With that, go in peace, share the love of God. Thanks be to God.